Hello.
Hey, hi Prince.
Yeah, hi.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Can you please turn on your camera?
Okay, sure. Is it fine?
Okay, 1 minute. Yeah. Okay, shall we start now?
Yeah, sure.
Tell me about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Prince Kumar and I have a 5 year experience as a Java developer. Currently, I'm working in Birla Soft and the skill set which I have like Spring Boot, microservices, and in the UI side, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and in the backend side, I know like microservices, Spring Boot. Also in the database side, MongoDB, MySQL, those are skill set I have. AWS services. So recently I got satisfied with AWS Cloud Practitioner certificate. And the client which I'm working for right now, which is Synchrony Bank, and associated, we have one product called Care Credit. So for that, I'm working. Yeah, that's all about me.
Okay. Do you know Java, Spring Boot, microservices?
Yes, I know.
Hmm. Okay. What is the difference between HashMap and concurrent HashMap?
Okay. So the difference between the HashMap and concurrent HashMap is based on the thread safety. So in the HashMap, like we don't have a thread safety. If you are working with the multiple thread environment, then maybe we got the exceptions if you modify the same index with the multiple threads, like concurrent modifications exceptions, or maybe we can receive some other exceptions as well as if you try to modify the particular index with the multiple thread. But in the concurrent hash map, they have given the surety, like it will support for the multiple threaded environment in terms of the update and delete operations. So based on the type safety, we can say like hash map is not safe and thread like concurrent hash map is a thread safe. So this is the one basic difference we have. And then after, if you see like based on the performance, like hash map is a very fast, and based on the performance, concurrent hash map is slightly slow due to the concurrency controls which we have to think about. And the performance in the multi-thread environment like HashMap is poor, can load and race conditions, all those things it will do. And also locking mechanisms, they have no locking mechanisms into the HashMap. But if you go to the concurrent HashMap, we have a locking mechanisms like bucket labels lock or segment labels logging they are providing. And also like in the concurrent hash map, like it will optimize for the concurrent access based on the segment labels logging. So those are the benefits we have. And also the difference which is hash map or concurrent hash map, we have like null key in the hash map it will allow, but into the concurrent hash map it will not allow. Null values also allow, into the multiples value we can write as a null value, but into the concurrent hash map it will not allow as a value also. So this is one of the difference. Also fail safe behaviors you can talk about, like based on the concurrent headers modifications or weekly consistent does not throw any exceptions if you use the concurrent hash map. So those are the couple of the way we can have a differentiate between the hash map and concurrent hash map. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. What is the Java memory model?
Yeah, so in Java, like Java memory models, like we have a multiple memory area in our Java. So those we are considering as a JVM memory models, or we can say like we have a multiple threads of the shared memories. So those we are considering as a Java memory model. So we have a multiple type of the memory in our JVMs, like main memory or working memory, we can say, or we have a heaps memory, Like if you are creating any object, so it will go and it will store those object inside the heap memory. Then after we have a something like stack memory. So if you are creating any variables or maybe you are doing some recursion functions call, so those kind of the operations it will store inside the stack. Also, if you have a multiples threads and they're calling to each others or they're calling the chaining labels, then also those call will store inside the stack. So basically the memory models which is helping us to like the garbage collector will help us to perform the better performance on that shared across the threads, those RAM memory. And each thread has its own copy of the variables. And like what are the threads we have, they can read the data from the main memory or working memory and modify their copy and write back to the memory later. So those are the concepts they are flowing to write the codes, and also visibility of the ordering of the operations, and also what are the data which we have created or generated, and we are storing inside our applications. If, for example, if you created some HashMap and you are trying to store the data inside this, so how you can manage those particular HashMap so that we can't get a stack overflow. So those are kind of the operations we are doing with the memory, and we are storing the data inside the heap memory, stack memory, or if it is some thread calls, then main memory also we are storing. So those are the memory models.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the purpose of synchronized?
Uh, the purpose of synchronize keyword in Java is like we can make the particular block of the codes as a synchronize. So for examples, in Java, we have a one synchronized keyword. Those synchronized keywords we can use as a block, as a methods, and also we can use those particular variables on the like some data types as well, so that we can make those particulars Java particulars keywords. We can use it, and we can make sure this particular block of the codes only can access by the multiple threads one by one. So multiple threads environments, if you are creating and particular methods we are going to make as a thread safe, then definitely the synchronized keyboard is very helpful for us. So for example, if you created some synchronized method or synchronized block, so the multiple thread can wait if they are calling at the same time. So they have to wait until one thread can complete their operations. Then after other thread will enter inside this and they can do the operations. So for that thread safety, we are using those particular concept, which is synchronizations in Java. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Do you have any idea about Java 8 features?
Yeah, Java 8 features I know. Like in Java 8 features, they have provided multiple features they have introduced, like Lambda expressions they have introduced, functional interface they have introduced, stream API, default and the static method also they have introduced, method difference, optional classes, some enhancement into the date times and API, and some collectors and collections result. So like if you are having some collectors together a stream result into the collections, so we can use some streams and we can collect those particular details. Also some provided some encoding decoding enhancement like JavaScript engines, and like yeah, those are the things they have provided. Computable features also they have provided to perform the operation as a asynchronous programming support or functional programming support. So those are the concept they have introduced inside the Java 8 features. So if I talk about Lambda expressions, so they have provided the Lambda expressions to allow and write the anonymous code method inside the functions. So previously, like we are writing the particular interface and we are implementing it later. So those kind of the operations we can do with the Lambda expressions, and we can provide the implementations of that class. So it will enable the functional programming basically. And what is next is function interface. So function interface, like it's a one of the interface, and it's a abstract, like it will accept only one abstract methods. Okay, for examples, in our JDK itself already having some of the function interface, for example, runnable, comparator, functions, predicate. So those we can say those are the particular interface is a function interface, and they have only one abstract methods, and we can provide the implementations of that particular methods interface with the help of the lambda expressions. And also they have introduced one annotations at the rate function interface. So if you mark any class at the any interface at the rate function interface, so it will make sure like it will contain only one abstract method, and it will not contain any concrete methods, and it will contain multiple default or starting methods. So for that, they have provided the function interface. In a stream API, like it's one of the way to process the collections of the data in terms of array, streams, map, or anything collections. So it's provided the functional styles of the codes, and they have a multiple methods like filter, map, reduce, and through that we can do multiple operations, and we can concise our code. We don't want to write lots of the lines of the codes, like for previously we are using the for loop or iterators, and we are doing the operations on the array list or array or any string. But nowadays they have provided the streams, a stream having a multiple classes they have introduced, multiple methods. So with the help of that, we can simplify our codes and we can write in one line also. So that is the flexibility they have provided into the stream API. Default and static methods in the interface, like we can write a default implementations into the interface, and basically they have provided to provide as a library to some other classes which is going to implement our function interface. So, and also method reference like double colons. So if you don't want to write lots of the codes and you want to reduce the shorthand or calling a method of by a lambda expressions, so it's a like shorthand operators of the lambda expressions, you can say, and we can achieve it. Optional classes they have introduced to help and handle the null key, or more safely avoid the null pointer exceptions. So the optional classes will help us to handle the null pointer exceptions, and they have introduced multiple classes for that, like optionals, and they have a multiple methods of null, get, if, present, if, else, and through that you can do lots of the operations. And new date time API enhancement they have done, like they have introduced one new uh, package like java.times, and which is having a modern classes like local date, local date time, zone date time. So with the help of that we can do, like we can concise our code. So this is the benefit they have provided with collectors or new features of date times. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. What is a Spring Boot auto configuration?
Spring Boot auto configurations. So at Spring Boot auto configurations, basically it helps us to make sure like what are the Spring Boot applications which we have developed. So it will become a productions ready of the codes. So whenever we are writing any Spring Boot auto configurations and creating any applications with the Spring Boot auto configurations, so basically like auto configurations will help us to configure what are the dependency we have put it inside the pom.xml or gradle file. It will collect those particular dependency, and based on that what are the classes are required to create an object and put inside the IOC containers and create those particular classes of beans. So it will do it and it will store inside the IOC containers. So that is the help of the auto configuration will do. And if you see like into the main classes of a Spring Boot, they have annotated at the rate Spring Boot applications. So those are the combinations of multiple annotations, like at the rate component scan, at the rate configuration, at the rate enable auto configurations, So those are also annotations are helping to scan all the classes and subclasses based on the package or sub package and create the object for that. So what are the classes which we have annotated with the stereotype annotations like at the rate service, at the rate configurations, or at the rate component. So through with the help of that annotations, it will create the object for that and bin for that, and it will store inside the IOC containers. And later, if you want, we can use the help of auto-wires and we can read those particular object and we can do our operations. So this is the things they have provided with the help of the auto configurations, so that developer don't have to put lots of the efforts. If you see like previously in the Spring applications, we are externally adding the servers of Tomcat or anything. But in the Spring Boot application, they are providing the inbuilt servers. You just want to add one dependency and it will automatically configures each and everything. So those are the benefits we have. Also, if you talk about something called actuator. So actuator is one of the framework, and if you put those dependency inside this, our pom.xml, it will configure everything and it will expose for you all those endpoints and we can use it. So those are the benefits we have, couple of the benefits with the auto configurations. For example, if you want to connect with the database and like you just want to add the credentials like URLs, user ID and password of your database inside the pom.xml and add the dependency. Remaining, you don't want to do anything. It will automatically create the connections for your database and it will store it. So those couple of the benefits we have with the auto configurations. Yeah, that's
Okay. What does Spring Boot support? REST API?
yeah. Spring Boot support the REST API. So
Yeah.
basically, like what are the Spring Boot applications we are creating? So in that, it's very easy to create a Spring Boot REST API. So for that, like it's supporting mostly like Web API and also REST API, which is help of the Spring Boot. And we can do very easily. So what are the HTTP methods we are using, like get mapping, post mapping, or controllers, REST controllers. So they have provided annotations with the REST controllers. We can create our particular REST API and it will support for that also. So Spring Boot is one of the framework that simplify building the standalone and productions ready and RESTful web servers supports in one of the applications. So if you are creating any Spring Boot application, it is capable to build your REST API, Spring Web, and auto configuration. So all those things it will do. So if I talk about REST API, they have a easily build API using the REST controllers and request mapping, gate mapping. So those particular notations we can use it and we can automatically do all those things. Automatically it will get the servers and it will create the Spring REST API with the help of the REST controllers and HTTP methods like get mapping, delete mapping, what are the methods you want to do. So those we can do it. So it will support definitely. Yeah, that's
Okay. How do you register service in Eureka?
okay. So if you want to register your services with Eureka servers, then you have to do couple of the things like you have a Eureka client. So you have to add the Eureka client dependency into the microservices, and that will register the particular services with particular Eureka clients. So for example, what are the services we have in that services? We have to add a Spring Cloud Starter. If you're using the Netflix Eureka or Joule Eureka, so based on that, you can add those particular dependency in your project pom.xmls. And also you have to enable Eureka client into the applications. So what are the applications you are building? It's make sure like it will enable Eureka clients in your main applications classes, and it will auto configurable. So it will do it. And also like if you want to configure those things, so we can do into the pom.xmls, like what are the configurations you want to do, like based on like how register with the Eureka, what is the port number for that, and what is the Eureka client server URLs and default zones. Register with the Eureka is true, or fetch registry is true. So those kind of the configurations we can provide into the application.properties files, and into the like Eureka servers also we can write what is the servers and what are the things they're going to do. And then after start the Eureka servers, and make sure Eureka servers running at your port numbers, and if not you will need to create it with some like you have to add some dependency, a Spring Cloud, a starter, Netflix servers. So one is server and other is client. So server will go and it will connect with the clients and enable Eureka servers into the main classes. And then after run your all those services, and it will go and it will register with the Eureka dashboard. So in the Eureka dashboard, you can see all those things, like what are the services and what are the instance you have you have for the particulars running registers services. Okay, so Eureka client status logs we can check also, and then after we can do all those things. You can monitor it.
Okay, I have done from my side. Do you have any question?
From my side, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.